on, Uriah.
Thanks so much for coming on, dude.
Man, this is my pleasure. I can't thank you enough for having me. It's so cool to talk about what we do, right?
Oh, yeah.
Helping people,
Oh, yeah.
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So thanks again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're getting you set up, bro. We're
Yeah.
getting you set up. You're about to just kill the market.
Well, I tell you what,
So,
there's a lot going on out there,
Yeah.
and it's going to be good for people to get a perspective of what's real,
yeah.
right? And behind all the hoopla
Yeah.
that they hear every day,
Yeah.
especially in the mortgage business,
Yeah.
because it can be so confusing, as you know.
Oh, dude. I know.
You've been on the real estate side, the mortgage side, you know
Yeah.
exactly how the game is played.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like there's tons of success that I've had, but we're not here about me
No.
today. We're here for Jimmy Oliver.
Well,
And so,
you know what? I'm going to step back on that.
Yeah.
We're here for my future clients.
Come on.
So they know
Cool.
exactly what they're dealing with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What to expect.
Dude, that's beautiful. Well said.
Because you know what? When you make it, so we have a saying at Indigo Mortgage where I work that once a person becomes a digit, like a loan number, then they're already gone. Because you're not looking at them as a person. You're looking at them as just a freaking commission check, right?
Golly.
So
Dude,
yeah,
so good.
that's one of our baseline beliefs
Yeah.
here at Indigo. So again, we'll talk more about all this.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So okay, so let's start at the very beginning.
Shoot.
You, Jimmy Oliver, who are you? How did you get into the mortgage space? Like what fired you up about mortgage? Go ahead. rip
Okay,
it.
so this is crazy. So I got divorced, okay, about 7 years ago. And, me and my ex are still great friends. So there's none of that lingering stuff, So my best friend from Las Cruces, New Mexico, where I was raised up, he owns Indigo Mortgage in Albuquerque.
Okay.
And he called me up. He goes, Jimmy, you got to do something. He goes, come work for me. And him and I go way back to the 7th grade. All the horror stories of best friends, right? All right. That's my boy. So
you got some dirt on him.
And he's got so much on me too. So I went to work for him, and the crazy story is, you take that test, right? Become a
in MLS, dude, that thing is a beast, right? Like it is so hard to just pass.
Yeah. So I went and took it the first time. So there's multiple times coming, right? When I say the first time, miss it by one question. So I come back and I study again, and I get worse on the exam. So I'm thinking, man, my days are numbered. So I met with my mentor. He goes, Jimmy, stop thinking like a loan originator. You got to think like a lawyer. And so when I did that, I thought, now everything's clicking. Because I'm thinking, okay, on this test, how am I going to benefit my client? And they don't care about that. They just want the right answer.
Yeah.
So I started working with him about 6-7 years ago. And I'm up here in Colorado Springs. I service Colorado and New Mexico.
Yeah.
So me and my buddy are still hooked up and rolling.
That's stinking incredible. That's such a cool story. So what motivates you to serve people?
So I think it goes to a little bit of my background. My dad was a high school basketball coach and golf coach.
Okay.
And so coaching's always been in our realm because I was a gym rat since I was 4 years old. And so I've always been around that atmosphere of teaching.
Yeah.
Right? So with the mortgage business, anybody can do a freaking loan. Right? But our job in this industry, especially after the 2008 financial meltdown with the housing market, our job is to teach the process. And so whenever my clients get a loan estimate or a closing disclosure, they're going to know, okay, Jimmy told me about this. This is what I'm looking for. So there's my job, I guess, and Jim, I know I'm way off the subject, and I apologize for that.
No, you're good.
But the process is that when they walk out of my office and they have their keys to their new home or their refinance, they're going to know that I understood the process. I know where the numbers came from. Jimmy told me about this. So, I'm their advocate in the mortgage business.
Yeah. So when I say like white glove service, right? Expound on that. How does white glove service from the start to the end, how does that play out with you and your clients?
So white glove can sometimes be dirty glove.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we get in the weeds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I understand the question.
Yeah.
And to me is that the service is is basically from the very beginning when we meet.
Mm-hmm.
My first thing is not going to be, oh, I got this rate for you.
Mm-hmm.
My first thing is going to be is, what can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking to accomplish?
Yeah.
And how are we going to accomplish this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I will be your advocate throughout the process.
Mm-hmm.
So you can call me. I answer my phone at nights. I answer my phone on weekends. I had clients call me when I was in Europe on a cycling vacation at 2:00 in the morning in Italy saying, Jimmy, I got this document, and I'm going, okay, well, I'm their mortgage guy. So yeah. So I think the white glove is a great scenario,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where it's from beginning to end.
Mm.
That's what it is.
Mm.
To be there throughout the entire process.
Mm. So your tagline is this ideal of nobody cares more about your mortgage.
Yeah.
Can you like shed some light on that? What does that truly mean?
That's one of our pillars. Kind of like, the when a person becomes a digit.
Yeah.
This is one of our other pillars. What it means is that nobody cares more about your mortgage than we do because we're servicing you, right? You are not a number to us. You're just not another check in the blank. We got this loan, blah, blah, blah. Our process is that we're going to care about you and your mortgage, so we get you the best circumstance for that mortgage. Because there's a lot of different options you can do.
Right.
And sometimes it favors the loan officer,
right.
not the client.
Right.
So when we go step back we're going to do what's best for you, not what's best for me. I've actually sent clients to go shop my loan, to shop my interest rate.
Yeah.
They've gotten a lower rate. I tell them, take it. Awesome. Good for you. That's what we're doing here.
So what would you say too? What are your values? What are your core values? Like if you could give me like 4 words on what Jimmy Oliver operates from.
Okay.
What would those 4 words be?
The heart, integrity, honesty, and due diligence.
That's good. That's good. Do you want to dig into any of those?
Yeah, because I think it's like, the old saying, what will you do if nobody's looking, right? Well, if you do the wrong thing, then you have no integrity. You're not honest. You're not that stuff, So you always got to do what's always right. And that's hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
Just in regular life, that's hard.
Yeah. Because you look at everybody else around you and they're doing terrible things and they're getting a leg up or whatever you want to call it. But to be honest and be a man operating from integrity.
And, some of our competitors, our national competitors, the stuff they do sometimes, I couldn't sleep at night. And we've gotten clients from them because, for instance, they charge a discount.
Right.
Which basically, as you know, it is, you're buying down the rate, right?
Right.
And they don't tell the client.
Yeah.
So the client has this $5,000 charge, and they don't even have any idea. They never even saw it on the loan estimate. So if I cannot put my head on my pillow at night saying I did the best for my client, the best for my family, the best for this community, then I'm not living my morals. I'm not living my true self. And, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised that way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, that's so good. So talk to me a little bit about, I know you love working with first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Right? Talk to me a little bit. What's the number one thing first-time home buyers need to understand before they start their journey?
The first thing they need to understand is that this is a process.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some up and downs. But it's my job to hold your hand and walk you through this because credit scores may come back different. Also, you may think you can afford more of a home than you can. So my job is also to put you back into reality and say, this is the process. This is what you have to look for. A mortgage payment is way beyond just principal and interest.
Right.
It's homeowners insurance, it's property taxes, it'd be HOA.
Right.
So all of a sudden, this $2,000 principal and interest turned into, $3,000 monthly payment.
Yeah.
So my job is to answer their question. Sometimes, talk to them about what is the big picture here? What do we want to accomplish? I want to make sure that you don't become home poor.
Mm-hmm.
By that I mean is that the maximum you can spend is $2,500 a month, and my God, we're at $2,650, and you want to buy that house. I'd say no,
Right.
because you still want to go out to dinner, you
Right.
still want to go to the movies,
Live your life.
you still want to live your life.
Yeah.
You don't want to be drawn to this house.
Right.
So we're better off going a little bit smaller, build up equity, get you rolling, get you used to a payment, the whole 9 yards, and then as you grow. Then we go to a bigger house that you want.
Build your castle.
Yeah, exactly. Because dreams are built not on the first home. Dreams are built later on.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good.
So
that's good. That's a little knowledge bomb right there. Okay, so how if I'm working with you, Jimmy,
okay,
and I'm a first time home buyer, or maybe I'm a seasoned buyer, right?
Right.
How can I expect you to simplify the loan process for me?
That's easy because, I look at it myself.
Yeah.
And I like to keep things simple for myself.
Yeah.
So I like to do that for my clients.
Sure.
Because we could talk about 90 different things, but does that answer the question? Like Jimmy, when am I going to get my first loan estimate?
Yeah.
And what do I do? Blah, blah, blah. So I like to keep things simple. I like to keep things open. I will ask a lot of questions, right? Because I'm not just a note taker. I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to ask you, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What can you really afford? Do we really want to do this right now?
Your vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because anybody can shove anybody into a loan, but is it right? Does it fit? And so my job is to pull the nuggets out of you and say, okay, here's what you want to do. Let's talk about this. And if it makes sense, I'm absolutely all in.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you my cautionary note, because that's my job.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's my job.
Fiduciary responsibility,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That was given on the test.
What are a few major mistakes that people make when they go to apply for a loan?
One thing that I think people take, the mistakes they make is, one, not knowing their credit score. And after the financial meltdown in 2008, anybody can get a free credit report from the government that shows the three major reporting agencies and their credit scores. So they can actually take a look at that before they even come see me.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
Yeah, because that's usually the biggest surprise.
Yeah.
Is when I pull a credit report and the numbers aren't what they think they are, or there's stuff that they did years ago.
They got it off Credit Karma. Come on, man.
Yeah. But see, all those are just one pull. And here's another thing, too, is that when we look at mortgage credit scores, they're different than what, like, applying for a credit card is. Right? So they tend to be a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a huge investment.
Right.
So, and with season ones, I just go through the process game, because what if somebody hasn't bought a house in 20 years?
Right.
They don't know about the new loan estimate. They don't know about the new rules, or if they haven't refied in 20 years. So, it's always education. It's always teaching. And I've had clients, Jimmy, I know that, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm still talking to them saying, this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like, because it's changed.
Yeah. Better to double check and make sure that they know.
I'd rather them roll their eyes at me while I'm talking to them than they say, well, Jimmy, you didn't tell me.
Well, and it could be, them rolling their eyes could be you saving them thousands of dollars too.
Yeah.
Like you never know. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. That's the home buying process, right?
Right.
What about refinance?
Listen, so this what I'm about to say, this will actually be used for refi and home purchase.
Okay.
Don't go by just the rate unless you know how you got that rate. By that I mean there's charges that they can throw in there. There's the loan discounts they can throw in there. The rate is not always the rate.
Yeah.
So what I do is I say, okay, bring it to me.
Yeah.
Let me see your offer.
Yeah.
And if it's good, I'll tell you either I can do better or I can't.
Right.
Then go with it.
Right.
But people get caught up in the rate.
Yeah.
And they're so focused on that rate that they're thinking that, okay, this is so good, but they don't look at their loan estimate. close enough, because with the loan estimate, by law, you have to put all charges, all credits, all the numbers have to be there. They can't add something later on. So the rate is the rate, right? But be careful, because especially on the national lenders, they have a lot of stuff. You've seen the commercials, right? And you've seen their disclaimer at the very bottom. Can you read that disclaimer?
No.
Because that's usually based on like a 760 credit score, blah, 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 blah. So that's the top of the top, right? So that's why I say, if you can get an offer from them, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Because more than likely, as a broker, I got multiple lenders
Yeah.
that are fighting for your business. And that's another thing. As a broker, I have lenders fighting for your business. Unlike if you go to a bank or a credit union, you got one rate sheet. I got 3 or 4 rate sheets I can get out there. So
So you're telling me that if I get a loan estimate from some big brokerage,
right,
and I could just bring that to you,
absolutely. And I'm not, you know what? I am not a hard sales guy. I never have been. I hate hard sales myself. All I can do is bring it to me, boom. I'll look at it and I'll point out what I see different. And then you can say, Jimmy, what do you got? I'm not going to start putting this full court press on you, because that's just not my style, right? Because people hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I always hated it. Almost like, so I got a quick story for you.
Okay.
So when my wife and I, back when we were engaged, we went to Toyota place to find a car for her. And that's when the hard pressure sales started, right?
Yeah.
We ran out of the building with our licenses to get the heck out of there. There was so much pressure. so whenever I picture,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
So you don't want people to feel that.
No, I want people to be comfortable around me. I want them to feel like, okay, I can ask Jimmy anything, and it's going to be legit.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What do you wish? What do you wish people knew more about when it comes to, loan officers and the mortgage process?
I think what I would want them to more is, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to challenge that loan officer, right? If you have a question and he can't answer, his answer ought to be, well, let me find out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because whenever you're in the service business, and that's what we are, we're in the client service business.
Yeah.
Is that we're not going to make something up, from our hip just to get an answer to you. If we don't know, we're going to find out what it is. And that should be your expectation, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like, oh my God, he told me something, I'm so lucky. No.
Right.
No. Your expectation should be very high, because you're making one of the biggest financial decisions in your life, right? Even if you're refined, that's a huge decision. Because we're not talking a couple $100. We're talking, thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So your expectation from whoever you're in front of should be, here's my questions. You need to answer these questions for me.
That's good. What are a few of those questions? What are a couple of those questions that I should really be paying attention to when I come to you and I ask you? Like, what are some questions that I should ask?
How are you going to help me in this process? Okay. What are your responsibilities? What are my responsibilities? Right? Get it cleared out there, because, the clients have to chase down information like, pay stubs or, taxes, stuff like that. So if we have our expectations lined out, then that's get rid of a lot of problems. And I think also too, is that it's one of those things where it's almost something that's always moving, right? It always changes. Now, the expectations don't change, but some of the different things we do may change.
Yeah, some people call it a journey.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And it is a journey. Yeah. And it's one where people are going to get frustrated. And I get that. I've had them, like I said, call me and say, Jimmy, I don't get this. What's going on? I'll find out. I'll call you right back. So there's a lot of things that go on through this. It's not as easy as people think, right? And everybody likes to make it sound easy, but there's a process.
Yeah.
And to tell your people, oh, this can be so easy, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry.
The easy button.
And you know what happens? It always blows up.
Yeah. All right, so tell me about some successes, like some stories of clients that you've worked with that, maybe they thought there was no way that they were going to be able to, and they got it. Maybe it was something that, another lender said, we're going to get you at this rate, and there was, a hidden five, six, $10,000 fee, and then you were able to expose that and then help them better.
See, yeah, I've had my successes,
Yeah.
and like you said, it's one of those where we found out where they were charging for a discount that they didn't tell the client about, blah blah blah. Um, but I guess here's the story that I love to tell because as mortgage people, we've helped a lot of people,
Hmm.
right? Me and my counterparts in this industry have helped a lot of people. But I had a really good realtor friend, and her almost adopted daughter was moving from Florida to Springs. So they were going to buy a house, and I doing the mortgage, and they're packed up coming in. Well, they're supposed to be here on Friday and close, or Thursday and close, something, or no, I'm sorry, Friday to close, Saturday to move in.
Hmm.
Well, we had title work problems,
Mm.
and they can close till Monday. Now, mind you, the trucks are already coming in. They're
Mm.
already in town,
Yeah.
and they can't get in. So me and my partner in crime in Albuquerque, we say, this is not their fault.
Hmm.
So we picked up their hotel room for the weekend. We picked up the extra charges for the truck.
Mm.
We picked up the extra cost for the movers to come in because they were late. We picked up those costs, not because we had to,
Mm.
because, it wasn't our mistake. We did it because that's what we do.
Mm. Come on.
So you look at that and you say, well, you guys must have done really well and blah, blah, blah. Do you do that? No, no. We just did it because it was not their fault.
Mm.
Why should they be penalized? And they were moving from Florida.
Yeah.
Can you imagine driving in on Friday and finding out that we can't close till Monday?
Yeah. No.
So we just
That's
wrote
rough,
checks.
man.
And you know what, though? She's still one of my favorite clients to this day.
That's awesome.
In fact, I went on Saturday when they went to move in. I went in and saw the house and,
Yeah.
and that's what you do,
Yeah.
right? You're losing money. And I didn't really give a crap about that.
Mm.
Excuse my French. I didn't give, because my clients are happy,
Yeah.
right? So that's
That's
the story that I like. I don't, all the victories and stuff, we all have those.
yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. What are you passionate about, Jimmy? I know you. We've
Yeah.
worked together for a while. But what are you like truly passionate about? What do you like to do outside of work? Because at the end of the day, we're humans, right? We're people.
Right.
We have lives outside of the business, right?
Right.
Outside of everything. What is it? What do you love to do? What?
Well, I got two great kids. They're young adults, and in fact, me and my daughter, she's here in town. My son's in Broomfield, but my daughter and I every Monday night watch 90 Day Fiance from the Sunday before. We grab dinner, sit in front of the TV, and watch that. But what I really like to do, I'm a cyclist. I love to ride.
So,
So my buddy Ben, who owns Indigo, he goes, Jimmy, you need to go to church. And I said, Benny, I go to church every Sunday. He goes, what do you mean? I go, I'm on my bike. I go, what a better way to look at things and be grateful and have gratitude,
yeah,
especially with us living in Colorado.
getting out in nature, baby.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I'm a cyclist. I love music. Um, I wish I could say I'm a good cook,
Hmm.
but I attempt, you know,
I can relate. I
yeah.
can relate.
And so yeah, I love watching sports,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Who's your team?
in college,
Yeah.
it's Notre Dame.
Okay.
I know you either love them or hate. In pro football, it's the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
But since they drafted Bo Nix, I'm becoming a huge Denver fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love me some Bo.
Okay.
So yeah,
Awesome.
but I'll probably watch a lot of football, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, tell me, how can people get in contact with you? You've shared some great information. You've already added so much value, I feel like, to the community and stuff like that. How can people get a hold of you? How can they, maybe they want to see more of your content and stuff like that? How can they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on all major social media platforms.
Okay.
Okay. Facebook is always really a good one.
Yeah.
And so is Instagram and YouTube, all those. You know, I'm on there, but you got to check it out because me and Uriah have been working on some stuff,
Yes,
and it's
yeah.
going to be a freaking mind blower when you see it. So you know, it's Jimmy Oliver, Residence Commercial. My phone number, if anybody wants to contact me outside this, is 719-437-5151.
Okay.
And just give me a call there. So I got a really crazy email address.
Okay.
So
yeah, tell me the story behind it.
okay. So my email address is Campy, Campy, Nago, Nago,
Yeah.
at Yahoo. So here's the crazy. I'm a cyclist, right?
Okay.
So Campy is short for Campanola, which is Italian, basically what we call like drivetrain and stuff like that for the bike, right?
Okay.
Make the bike work. Nago is short for Conago, which is the type of bike that I ride.
Okay.
So I've been using this stuff for like 20, 25 years. And one thing about me, I am brand loyal.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a loyal, that's another thing about me. I'm very freaking loyal.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
so I threw that together and
So campynago@yahoo.com.
yes, sir.
Awesome. Cool. Dude, Jimmy, thank you so much, man.
Thanks,
Thank you
you're
for
right.
being here today. And yeah, if you guys need any mortgage help, anything at all, reach out to this guy. He's awesome. He takes care of his people. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Uriah.
Yeah, have a
We'll
good
do
one.
it again.